Oh, hell yeah.
I ask him every week.
So my son and Tobin, man, they're hyped on this bourbon and barbecue thing they want to do. And then other anchor I got. I told him, hell no, slow down a second. They see all this money we got in our savings. They just assume we're not over this deal.
Oh no, the Delta variant, this whole thing. They've already said for the CDC they want kids wearing masks.
Oh, they do?
Yep, for the whole year. That's what CDC saying.
So what do you do?
K through 12.
Should I be having my employees wearing masks?
No, they just said in the school because the kids aren't vaccinated.
I just tore it off.
K through 12.
I got another one.
But the Delta variant goes through the vaccine.
Nice.
Okay. Oh, Aaron, we want to do the Aaron piece too?
Yes.
Okay.
At the table down there?
Right, because we're going to do the swearing in also.
I think Trish is going to say it.
So, wait a minute, what are we doing now? I just want to do Aaron. Roy's first, though, right?
Yeah, we're doing.
No, just Roy.
No, we're doing the swearing in for Roy first. Then we'll do Aaron. I got the list here.
Then we'll have meeting guests, and then we'll get you.
Yeah. I've already been scribbling on mine, so. Right. All right. Okay, it's 8 a.m. I'd like to call the Brimfield Township Regular Board of Trustees meeting to order at 8 a.m. Roll call for attendance, please, John.
All those in attendance, Sue,
Present.
Nick,
Here.
Mike. Here, we have a full board.
All right. I would ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. The flags are in the back of the room. And Mike, can you lead us? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor, I'll ask you to lead us in opening prayer.
Heavenly Father, we certainly always ask for wisdom for our leaders in our township. We're so thankful for them, but Lord, you taught us that your word of wisdom isn't just knowing things, it's exercising them in truth and what's right. So we pray that you give all our department heads, Lord, give them wisdom to interact with their staff and faculty, with the community, and Lord, we just ask you to a blessing upon this meeting as well. We ask this in Jesus' name.
Amen.
All right. Next on our agenda today, we have some special guests, and we have two other pieces with township business. We will start with the police department. We have a new part-time police officer to be sworn in. So Roy, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure this morning to swear in a new officer for the Brimfield Police Department. We're swearing in Officer Goose this morning. Officers come on board with us in the front county capacity. Hopefully things work well. After the fall, we're going to bring them on full time. So, Austin, you can come up. We're going to get you sworn in this morning.
He does.
You raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America. The Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio. and the laws and ordinances of Brimfield Township. And I will discharge the duties of the office of police officer. I will discharge the duties of the office of police officer. To which I have been appointed. To the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
Congratulations, welcome to the team.
Austin, you win the most difficult last name.
But it's good. Sign.
Yep.
Right there. This one, please.
Roy, are you gonna take Austin over to Kirsten and get him all squared away with that? Okay, all right.
Sign, add signature, please. Awesome. As we see. Right here, signature. And now easy, probably get a couple of photographs. If somebody want to be my cameraman for me and get a couple of
Craig,
photographs.
can you do it for us?
Yes, right there. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Wait, no more.
John, give me a thumbs up.
Sorry about that.
Still waiting? Yeah. Okay. John, you're still in. You're so big. All right, let me angle one because of the background. All right, you're good.
This is why we need that new administration building done.
Well, John's like 70 feet tall, so.
I'm going to set up briefly with Austin's family, maybe get a couple photos out.
Yeah, that's fine. We got some other business before we get into actual township business piece. Congratulations again. Welcome to the team. We're excited to have you here.
Thank you.
And
Congratulations.
look forward to seeing you out on the road. Thank you, Chief. All right. Next on our agenda, Craig, I believe the floor is yours. We have a new part-time employee that we wanted to introduce to the board.
Actually, just wanted to say a few words. So, a few weeks back, we decided we were going to go with a part-time Parks and Rec person at the time. We ended up with Aaron, who's over here, but I want to pass this over to Cassie because this is actually Cassie's employee, and she's going to speak a little bit for her. So, go ahead, Cassie.
This is Erin Bowman. She's a senior at Kent State, going for environmental science. And I'm very excited to have her on board and help for her to get started here to help me with programs and events and just help me around the parks. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to hire a part-time employee. And I'm very excited for you to start. Did you want to say a little bit about yourself?
Hello. Hey everyone, I've never been to something like this before. I'm very, very excited though to get to work with everybody. Thank you.
All right, well, congratulations. Welcome to the team. We're excited to have you on board. I'm sure you'll be meeting with all the board members throughout the next month or so as we pop in and out. And we're excited for the parks program. It's been a big thing here in the township. I can speak for myself and probably most of the board. We're excited to see all the changes and community events and gatherings, especially now that we're on our way out of the COVID piece and we're seeing more gatherings. This is great to see and have those opportunities. So welcome, and we're excited to have you here.
Wonderful, wonderful.
All right.
And then I think just one more thing to say on Erin. She is at Kent State, so
Okay.
she's very local for our needs. So that was a big piece for that, and her degree and naturalist and all that kind of fit with what Cassie wanted to work with. So we actually had good candidates, but she stood out. So we're excited.
Perfect. Well, that's what we pride ourselves on here, is hiring the best of the best.
Right.
So we're excited for you to be here.
You got a lot of energy, I hope.
with honors.
Yeah. I should have made her stand up here. Embarrassed her.
So, well, hopefully we'll see one of the upcoming parks events here in the near future. Do we have an official start date yet? When is that?
Well, we're pushing for the 19th, but she still has to get her drug screen and everything we got to do in government. So,
Right,
So,
all background paperwork.
so actually, do we want to say an official start date of the
We'll
19th?
just
But
do it pending her completion. And then we'll start at the beginning of a week. Doesn't have to be the pay cycle, it could just be a Monday.
okay, so but do we need for the minutes to have a
Yes, we
start
need
date?
to approve.
So I want to, the
Pending,
19th.
we'll pend it.
Okay.
For completion of background and drug screen.
Okay, gotcha.
So if you guys want to.
So we'll be in touch.
We won't that
You get that
we
stuff
can't do
back.
that as a motion until we're in the business section.
Okay, that's-
So,
Okay.
we'll have to amend we'll just make it as an
right.
amendment to the agenda.
So Aaron, you know this, but you just get back to us as soon as you have an answer. And also tell them to send us copies to Cassie's email and then we'll know. So, thank you.
All right, well, thank you again for coming in this morning. You're more than welcome to hang out if you want to, or it's up to you. All right, we now are going to move into our meeting guests. And first on the agenda today is John Harris from the Portage County District Library. Sir, the floor is yours.
Howdy, folks. My name is John Harris. I'm director of the Portage County District Library. Wanted to give people a little bit of an update as far as what we've been up to the past couple of years. Obviously, this last year's been a bit of a rough one for everybody. But even then, we're still doing outreach deliveries as well as express boxes. That's one of the things that we started back up even before we had people back in our buildings. Was outreach to our homebound patrons and the express box we've got over at Brimfield Plaza. We've also been loaning out mobile hotspots. We've got about a stock of, I think, about 80 of them right now in our system. To give internet access to people who don't have it at home or don't have it on the road or wherever they're going. As well as a whole slew of online content. That's something that we've been working with local schools in partnership with as well, so that in many of the school systems throughout our district, students can log on with their student IDs and have access to our materials as well. Along with that, we've been working with the Portage County United Way in partnership with the Governor's Imagination Library. For anybody who isn't familiar with that, it is probably one of the third best things that Dolly Parton has ever done. And she said no to Elvis about him trying to buy a song. So like, we're putting it down a couple of pegs, but at least third best thing. What it does is it provides a book a month to every child aged from birth to age 5. And that's something that we're able to provide with help from the United Way and help from the state as well. Now, obviously, those are the things that we're doing at our current levels of funding. One of my board members is here, and unfortunately, she'll be able to tell you that anytime she sees me in a jacket, I'm either asking for money or asking for favors. So, sorry. As it is, we are one of the 50 of 251 libraries in Ohio that exist solely on state funding. When you look at the money that we get from the state and the amount of people that we serve, we're the third worst funded library in the state of Ohio. You have to go, I think almost down the Ohio River on one side and almost over the far corner of the state on the other to find a library that's in worse financial situation than we are. And we're looking to change that this fall. We are putting up a levy campaign on the November ballot. It is a $1 million 10-year levy. It'll cost a taxpayer that comes home at $100,000. It'll cost about $35. Now, obviously, we have had a rough time getting those passed. This is our 12th attempt dating back from 1974, I think was the first time that we tried. And we've never got one passed. And I totally understand why, because for a lot of our area, they just don't see the worth of it because we're not that. So there are a couple of things that we're looking at doing, specifically things that folks have in the field. We're looking at increasing our outreach. That's to homebound patrons, that's to our express boxes, that's to assisted living facilities. We're just looking to increase that. Next up is we are looking at purchasing bookmobile service. It's something that our system was originally based on back when we started on in Ireland forever ago, before we took over the rest of the county. is that, I mean, back in the 1950s, we had 75 regular automobile stops a year. That was at schools, that was at community centers, that was at crossroads, corner stores, wherever we would set up shop. We were looking at bringing that back. Right now, we're working on a grant to purchase an automobile. Problem is, we can pay the grant covered part of the automobile at this point. But we can pay for the machine, but we can't pay to bring it out on the road to everybody. That's the kind of thing that we need stable and sustainable funding for. That is something that we are looking to bring back, though, especially if we can get the support of the community to pay for getting it out to the students, getting it out to the families. The other thing that we're looking at is, honest to goodness, if we can get this through, I would love to have another branch open. And I would love to have it on the south end of the county somewhere. Right now, we've got 5 branches, and 4 of them are above that Kent, Ravenna, and the Arsenal line, which means that down here, we've got 4 different school systems that are served out of 1 branch in Randolph. And that branch is open 25 hours a week. So I can totally understand why we got our butts kicked on the ballot year after year, because we're just not putting that value out there. We can get this through. I am totally open to getting another branch, especially somewhere like here. If this can go through and somebody gives me a call on November 3rd saying we've got space, we'll start talking. But that's just a little bit of what I had. If anybody has any questions, I'm used to answering. It's what I do for now.
So with the passage of a library levy, there's a possibility of us getting a library back here in Brimfield then for our residents, especially with our growth rate. We're seeing so many new families here, just providing, we're seeing a request for more of those city type services within inside the township.
So the deal that we have with the communities where we have branches is they provide the space, we provide the library. In Aurora, it's a city building that's overseen by local trust. Randolph Township trustees give us space there. Wyndham's not a situation because it's a local nonprofit that operates, but the village pays part of our rent there. Right now, we're in a situation where even if somebody said, hey, we have this brand new building that would be fantastic, we'd love for you to move in. I hate to say we're having a tough enough time staffing the branches that we've got, but something like this, if somebody tells me they've got space, yeah, I'm willing to start talking immediately. So, and I know that I think Manway reached out at one point, and honestly, they were right in between 3 of our other branches. If somebody else wants to talk, I'd rather have it down here where it's most good.
Right. Well, that's like I said, we just seen a lot of growth here. I have 2 young kids that are getting involved in school. Libraries are great. Even though we can get access at home, just having that ability of a place to go to study, to get to the books and be involved. And
just from anecdotal experience, this area, back when our buildings were closed and, we were still doing a little bit of express box work. We were doing, mostly I was going to every single pickup, like one of our drop-off return bins. Brimfield was one that was always full. And I know that because I was out doing that route when we were closed because of COVID. This is the place that used it most of any of the communities. So.
Do you have some additional information on projects the library's been working on that we could share with our residents?
Yeah,
that you could send to me?
I have, what I've got with me today is, stack of strategic plan for the next couple of years. That includes some levy information.
Okay.
I am going to ask everybody, there's a sticker on the front that says 2021 to 2024. We picked these up last year and picked them up from the printer the day, the same week that we had to close down.
Okay.
So we're calling a mulligan on last year as far as planning is concerned, but I'll be happy to.
Yeah, no, if you could, that would be great.
And as far as, anything that what we're up to right now, PortageLibrary.org has our full events calendar. I gotta say, this is one of the earlier meetings that I've hit, but we are going out and about to all 9 school districts and 22 municipalities that we cover. So we're happy to have you on. I think this is meeting 531 for me coming up. So we are working on getting out and about.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have a question. I don't want to be a devil's advocate, but I'm gonna be. I got a very young staff. We were talking the other day about things people don't ever use anymore.
Yeah.
Video stores came up in libraries, and I've always been a supporter of the library, and I asked why. And the same thing they told me, why go to a library? I can get everything online. So I'm just telling you, as you plan your campaign, the young people are not going to vote for it because they're on their phone and they understand that and they don't. And then the other thing with Brimfield, and I don't want to, we're attempting to run a levy. And then there's rumors that Portage County is going to run a levy for more money. Our residents, what I've been finding out, I talked to the chief and everyone, people are still reeling in our area from that school levy.
Yeah.
So I don't want to tell you things you don't know, but the people I talk to, they're still blaming us because they just don't understand that we did not run that levy, but it's hurting everything. So I wish you all the luck in the world, but I don't want to tell you that it's a very steep climb for you.
Oh, trust me, I know. And there are two things there is that, a couple of places I've been giving pop quizzes for folks, just asking them, just wrong answers only, how much you pay a year for library service out here. You would be surprised the numbers that people give. Anywhere from, $100 a year to something like that. Right now, we don't get any money from the county. We don't get any money from local property taxes. The closest without going over answer of what our current tax liability for, resident of Portage County, closest without going over is zero. If you actually, took our budget, broken out by all the people in Ohio that pay it, it's about 21 cents a year. So yeah, you can't even buy a gumball machine from what we're getting right now.
Yeah.
So
I don't think you have to tell the board any of this. We
yeah.
libraries.
And the other thing, especially with young people is, the thing that I found is being a former young person myself, more recently, happily, but we're broke. And the nice thing about that is that, while things are available online, it's a whole lot easier if you can get them online for free. And that's one of the things.
It really sucks that Portage County doesn't support you. Apparently, there's some kind of big surplus that Portage County has.
Yeah.
And they're still asking for more money.
Right.
I don't know why they won't help you.
And it's the way that libraries are funded in Ohio. It's a separate thing. Like they're the ones that put us on the ballot, but we're entirely separate from county government. So,
I can tell you as a parent, we use the library a lot. We probably bring home 20, 30 books a week, it feels like, for our kids, because they read through them, and then we drop them off and make that cycle. So it's a constant stop at that Kent Library. I'm there once a week, so.
And also, don't forget that your young people at your restaurant, that there's online resources, and with better funding, we would be able to promote those better. And so they wouldn't have to, just do a random Google search, but they could actually find the research or information that they need, through better sources, because the library buys database access, many things. So.
Yeah, well, I tried to give reason to them, but there's no giving reason to some of these, this new generation.
Well, wait until your car breaks down on a Sunday on the Kentucky-Tennessee border. The children database that we offer, it's really useful.
And you know what they'll tell me? They'll go to YouTube.
All right, well, we appreciate your
talk.
time. Thank you. Yep. If you could drop those off on the table there, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Sue, did you have any questions for the library?
No.
Okay.
Don't forget my announcements.
Yep. No, we'll get to that too. Next is John Simon is on our agenda. John?
John Simon, 5216 Line Road, since 1996. Before I say the other things, I wanted to ask a couple of questions, maybe somebody could answer. What is the update on what's going to be the park right next to our driveway here?
Well, I thought we were going to do eminent domain and take all the homes.
Okay, thanks.
We're going to be like Cuyahoga Valley National Park.
You can have mine.
No, it's okay if I answer this.
Yeah, if you want to.
And then Cassie can help. Right now it's more of a green space. you know, we got this opportunity to get it, and I'm sure you know better than anyone how trashed that area was. It was a junkyard.
What do you have in there? I think 15, 30 cubic yard trailers, I think, to get all that stuff.
Boy, he must have had some treasures in there somewhere.
He was a nice man.
I know.
He was. I met him, I talked to him all the time, and he'd go in and out.
Right.
That's why the other thing is.
I mean, you know, the one thing we're thinking with, you know, with that Messner's Acres or whatever, I mean, right now we're at the cusp of Brimfield just blowing up.
Right.
If we don't start securing more green space, you know, we're gonna be, nothing against Streetsboro. I don't wanna be Streetsboro.
Right.
I want opportunities, and I want recreational opportunities. I want green space for these. Like Nick said earlier, we've got so many people coming in from the Falls, from Stowe, and everybody wants, you know, the green. They want to live in the country. They want the green space. But if we as a board, and hopefully future boards, don't start securing this property, it'll be gone in a heartbeat. And you know that as well as I do.
Absolutely.
You know, so right now we're of limited means for the parks. So right now, I mean, if Cassie wants to jump in, we're just green space right now.
Okay.
Because there's some very.
I wanted to make sure that, please put his name on that board somewhere.
Oh, yeah, we are. We talked to the family, and I think at one point we talked about possibly naming the trail through there. Because see, it's not gonna be a park like a big recreational park.
Right.
And with the Western Reserve guidelines, it's more of it is gonna stay more of a green
Like
space.
the one maybe in Springfield Township, near bog, that little areas that pull over, that's. and they
Right.
got trails.
Right.
It's gonna be like.
We can't put in soccer fields or volleyball courts. We're just gonna, you know, it's nice just to have green space.
Yeah, really.
You know, I mean, hopefully we work together, but we gotta really, when we get that sign, we gotta make sure we put his name on there. Cause, you know, I talked to the family and, you know, we'll make sure.
Right.
And I never met the gentleman, but you did, so.
I just talked to him all the time, he'd come up and he'd have the dog in the truck with him, and we just chat for 15 or 20 minutes, you know.
Well, it's really pretty,
I
man.
was pretty upset when he died, I really was, we were pretty good friends there.
Right, you know, and then I think across to the development across, I mean, if they had to watch another 30 or 40 homes going up there, I mean, God, we're losing everything we have.
The other thing is, it makes me a little bit nervous, is, you know, when you come around the curve and you have a place there that's, some you can park or run radar, hopefully, because I like to see the radar guy up there. That tree, that we had 4 trunks, one of them fell backwards. I hope we're not waiting until it falls on the road, because it's dead. It's deader than a doornail. It's three big things going up, and I don't want to see it fall on the road. So
Dave, do you know that tree?
No, it's one of them that's right on properties of ours and Smiles' property and all that.
Why don't you check into that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good warning. I mean, if it falls down and blocks the road, you know, it's something you need to take care of.
Right. The other thing was, and don't take this personally, because I'm going to take a shot I can't say, but I went there a long time ago, so I have a right to do that. But this thing when that first graduation hit, I mean, that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. If you needed police, fire, or anybody, they wouldn't have been able to get through. That road was so jammed up with people, because everybody knows that back way to come in from Malloy on up, you know, towards the stadium. And I don't know. I think that it just should have something should be done about it. And I know at the football games, I think the fireworks are gone now, because they tried to put the field hockey game in at halftime of the last home game. And when they started to go to warm up, the people that were going to shoot off I think they're 3-inch aerial salutes, they said you can't go back there because you're not allowed by state law within 100 yards of there. So I think that pretty much took care of the aerial salutes. From what I hear, they're not going to do them anymore.
Well, from that graduation, it wasn't that, if I got it right, that was all of them together, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
there's 40, they can't hit, I think, 41,000 a year ago, and they passed Cincinnati, they're the second largest college, I think, in Ohio, next to Ohio State.
And that wasn't even the full amount they could have had.
No.
Because I remember at the restaurant, I mean, it was unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
I told them to stop seating people, because I don't know if Ken, I'm sure there's logic to what they did it, but man, I tell you, they messed up all the businesses around and because there's no way that if we had 10 more restaurants, how we could handle
Well,
it.
when it used to be up on campus where it should have been and never moved out there, you had 3 roads on the east side plus Summit to get out of the game. A lot of, they had 2 on the other side to go west, and that would have solved it. At my place of business, I have 2 tenured professors that work out at my gym, and they told me, they said they could do 11 and 4 o'clock on Saturday and the same thing on Sunday, and they would be done. Why they wanted to have it up there where it could have started pouring rain, anything could have happened. It's supposed to be at the Mac Center, it's always been.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if maybe it was with the COVID,
Right.
I'm not sure, but I agree it was a mess.
right. Well, my idea was this, where you come up off Summit Street, and you have that first house on the left, so bi-level, he's got the, kind of the wall of earth around it with the
Across from
trees.
Chuck Hyper's?
It's the first house on the left when it says you're leaving Franklin Township. But so he's the first house on that actually is on Klein in Brimfield Township, okay? I say block that whole road off, just put road closed, but on the other end, leave one end open, and it'll say road closed, local traffic only. That way, anybody that wants to get into our area there on Klein would also have a way out, when they're gonna do a game or something like that. I think it's kind of rude what they were doing. I mean, I thought it was. To jam a road up like that and everything, that's why, one of the main reasons I'm here is I hope we can do something like that.
I don't know, is that something we can do?
There was some internal discussion on that, and Roy, I think you had some comments about being able to close a road is pretty difficult over there from.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're mentioning, Mr. Simon. The short answer is I'm just not sure on that.
Right.
It would seem to me that if there was, the easiest way I think to address that frankly would be to close it off at Summit. So in other words, when you're driving on Summit, you just
So they
can't
don't even have an option.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That'd be great.
but of course that's outside our jurisdiction, but I can make an inquiry. That's technically Franklin Township, that'd be the sheriff's department. Kent State PD really probably wouldn't get involved in anything off of the university property per se, but I can certainly make an inquiry
It took me
and see if
half hour
that's
to get
feasible.
out of my driveway, and
Yeah.
somebody would have needed an ambulance or a fire truck.
And particularly graduation, that is an issue.
Well, hopefully, they're gonna go back up to the Mac Center, because that's what these 2 profs told me, they wanna see it back up there anyway.
Okay.
So.
They did move the recent ones back.
Right.
But Roy, John had a good comment, I mean, if there would be a safety issue, I mean, I don't know.
Well, there was for that one.
Yeah, for graduation, I think there was a lot of parking of cars along both sides of the roadway.
They were taking all in the condos across the street, they were taking all their visitor
Yeah,
places. And they didn't care.
I think I'm kind of delineating out the graduation event, which is massive, versus maybe a football game, which is a little bit different animal.
Well, yeah.
So my answer is I certainly don't mind making that inquiry to see
Okay.
if that's a possibility, particularly the graduation event, just because of the size of that and all the parking and getting
10,000 a class.
and getting fire apparatus through the road. I mean, that would be a
Right.
legitimate, that'd be a legitimate question.
Okay.
Can you
Yes, sir.
copy us all in it?
Yeah, I can do some, we can do some
Find out.
homework on that. I'll see what I can find out.
Okay.
Well, thank you for coming down today. We appreciate the feedback and questions.
I gotta go open my business up, so.
All right, well, you have a wonderful day.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, you can go right out that door. Announcements and correspondences. Sue, did you have any announcements, correspondences?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
The Faith United Methodist Church in Brimfield is sponsoring a bus trip to Noah's Ark. And it's going to be Wednesday, July the 28th. It's a one-day bus trip. And the bus would load at the church or in Rootstown. Here in Brimfield, it's going to load at 7:30 a.m. And the cost is estimated like $90 a person for the day. But I talked with Pastor Upson, and he said that they have maybe 10 seats left. So I wanted everybody to know that it's available if you think you'd like to go. And you could call the church.
What church is it? Sue?
Methodist.
Okay.
Methodist church there.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thanks, Sue.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say, yeah, if one of us could read that letter.
Yeah, this is, I'll just read it real quickly. I reported a safety issue that involved a tree hanging over a roadway that was split from the trunk on both sides of the tree. To make matters worse, it also grown over and around power lines. I already notified Ohio and they sent out a team to cut down a few small branches and left. This roadway was also near an intersection with a stop sign. My fear was a tree was going to fall down on a car and hurt someone, or even worse. Dave from the road crew was out that very day, and he was made aware of the safety issue to conduct an assessment. When I got home from work, there was a big X on the tree. The very next day, Dave and the tree crew were out to cut down the tree. Dave called that morning to say that they were able to take care of the issue. Unfortunately, I had to work, so I was not able to meet all of them and get their names. When I got home, the tree was gone, as well as the entire mess, and the power lines were intact. The tree crew did an outstanding job. However, my intent of this letter is to commend Dave on his assessment skills and swift process to resolve the issue. He took this issue very seriously and understood that lives were at risk if not taken care of quickly. I wish I had been here to meet Dave personally, but since I was not, I am hoping that you pass this information on to him. Dave obviously knows what he's doing and put the lives of others on the top of his priority list. Much thanks to Dave. He is an asset to the safety of Brimfield resident and a man of his word. Sincerely, Lisa Cole. Great job, Dave. Thank you.
Is there a second page to that? Okay. Good job. You know, it's.
I thought I was going to say Becky Ribbon on the bottom of it.
So I'm not sure how much you paid her, but it's good to see positive notes come in. Often we deal with complaints, right? And that's the nature of our business. But to see some positive reinforcement, we definitely want to highlight that. So great job, Dave.
Does that say Lisa Cole Roofner?
Yeah.
Yeah, not that I want to skip over Dave, because Dave was included in it. There was another township employee as well. Kirsten Mission got a letter very similar to that for her, from Lisa, for the same day. So I know Kirsten's listening, so thank you as well.
So we have an amazing team here, and the team just keeps getting better and better. So very proud of everyone. Any other announcements or correspondences anybody wants to share? All right. Hearing none, we'll go into meeting minutes. I'll entertain a motion for meeting minutes.
That motion, Nick?
Okay.
Second.
There for the 6:30 regular meeting and the 6:28 bid
Right.
opening for the fire admin project.
Yes.
So Mike and then Sue.
Yes.
All those in favor, Sue,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda for comments.
I can make that
We need to amend it.
Oh, that's right.
So Mike makes a motion to accept the agenda,
Second.
and then we can make amendments. We do have under administration, number 2, B as in boy, hiring of part-time parks.
In the fiscal office, we have 2B Maple Crest TIF approval.
Roy, do we need to put something under police department 2A? I guess it would be A for letter of necessity.
Yes, that'd be under new business.
Okay. So number 2A, police, is going to be letter of necessity.
Yeah,
My apologies, my report was a little late getting in yesterday afternoon, but I do have a couple of items that we need board approval today.
Letter of necessity.
Okay. No problem.
That's no problem. Is there anything else that you'll need board action on
I'll
today?
need an executive session
Oh, you will need
to
okay.
discuss compensation of a public employee or official.
So that's 2B executive session.
Well, but we put it under police, so we know where it's coming out of. So number 1 under executive session is police. Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything they need added or amended on the agenda today? All right. Just to reiterate, 2A, letter of necessity under police, 2B as in boy, under police executive session for compensation of public official. Under administration, number 2B as in boy, hiring of part-time parks. Under fiscal, number 2B as in boy, Maple Crest TIF acceptance. And then under executive session, number 1 is police. Hearing no other, can we get roll call for acceptance of the agenda?
Okay, all those in favor, Mike? Yes. Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
I'll entertain a motion for purchase orders.
I will make that motion. I've reviewed them.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, Mike? Yes. Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Under, I'll entertain a motion for warrants.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, Mike? Yes. Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, now we will open up the public comments. Anybody in the public can make a 5-minute statement to the board. Please list your name and address before speaking. We'll open up the floor.
We have a special guest today, Dave. Your wife let you out, huh? Your wife let you out, huh?
My name is David from Hardman. I live at 3840 Morley Drive. Unfortunately, I guess I'm on the wrong side of the tracks. I've got a little problem here. A few years ago, I got cited for having a junk vehicle in my driveway, which is a historic vehicle with historic plates. I came to the trustee meeting, that was thrown out. 2 weeks later, I got another citation for the same thing. According to the Ohio Rights Code, you can't do that. Okay, that's forward. Present day. About 3 doors down the street, I got 9 junk cars sitting in the yard and the driveway. Are we equal in the law here?
Mike?
So he came in and gave addresses up and down his street on Morley, I believe a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago. Lauren and I went out the same day. I think that was the day he was talking to you, John.
Yes.
In the parking lot. We did take a look at him. Without trespassing, if the car is backed in and it doesn't require a front license plate, I don't know how I'm going to access to look at the rear to see if the plates and the stickers are actually current on cars. And I can't trespass on the property. So the properties he has given to me, one of them looked like it was the house is kind of run down. Bushes need to be trimmed, but there's nothing in our zoning resolution for trimming trees or trimming bushes in the driveway or anything like that. So the ones and the items that are on this list, and you should have a copy of the current, there's 173 violations on this spreadsheet. Some of them are closed, some are completed. Every single complaint that comes in, we look at it, and if we can do something about it, we will. If it's something we can't do and it's something that is trespassing on somebody's property, obviously, we're not going to do that.
What was the address? What was the address, Dave? What was the address? The 9?
Where the cars are?
Yeah.
3877.
So that's on here, Mike?
I have 3845 that was complaint taken.
3845 was a different house.
I have that one. That one's about the trash and the other stuff. I'll keep looking.
You also have, Dave, Mike, on your report, one on Pelham too, that is right over. close to there.
Correct.
That is here.
3877, no violations were found on 3/3 of 20. So it's previous car and driveway with no license plate and filed. The complaint car was removed. Now a second car is in the driveway with no license plate, long grass in the backyard. So we can't do anything about the long grass in the backyard. The one car was removed and the other car we couldn't see because we don't know if the plates are good or not. Especially on 3/3 of 20, they weren't even ticketing for registrations. I believe registrations had to be completed by July. Is that correct? They extended? Yes. So.
That was back in 3/3.
Correct. And then well, we could go back again and look again. If it was on the list, if anything that was given on the list is on here. Here's another claim from 2/8 of 20. Neighbor complained of hot water tank, rowboat, and trash. Inspected, saw no issues, case closed. That was on 2/28 of 20.
I'm talking about cars today.
Okay, that's fine. We'll go past again. Yeah.
I saw you go by the other day.
Yep, absolutely. We take pictures, whether it's, so I'd have to go back through the files and look, but if there is no violation found, we still take pictures. So whatever we could see,
Front yard.
you can
What
park.
they're doing, and you can't put the
There's absolutely nothing we can do. There's no zoning requirement on amount of cars in your driveway. It's not something that a township can do. A city can do something about it. It's part of the Ohio Revised Code. We can only cite what's in the Ohio
Why
Revised.
you're not excited for having a junk vehicle in the
I
driveway?
personally did not cite
That's
you.
not legal.
I did not cite you for.
That was Dick Messer. That was Dick Messer. That was 10 years ago,
Right.
15 years ago.
But now I got nine cars sitting in the front yard.
But we have to, so we have to operate under what the law allows us to do.
Okay, in other words, I can start parking cars in the front yard. I'll buy some park in the front yard, it's legal.
If you park in your driveway, absolutely.
No, they're in the front yard as we speak.
Okay. And I said, I'll go past and take a look. I'll take pictures again. Last time when you came up and you were talking to John, I went out with Lauren and I took pictures. If there's a violation, I'll send them a letter. If there's no violation, I don't send a letter. It's as simple as that. I'd have to go back through the pictures and take a look, but I document everything we do is documented. Yeah.
All right. So the complaint, what is the address for the official complaint? What is the address?
3877
Right,
Morley.
right.
Okay, so Mike, add that to your list and then we can move on from this.
I'll do it today. Yep.
Thank you.
I'll zip on by it also. Just
I don't understand why I decided if they don't get, I can park all cars in my yard.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't speak for previous employees that are no longer with the township. I can speak for,
Some of these members of the board here were previously involved in this.
but we can speak for how the township is operating within the laws and the ordinances that are set forth that we have right now. Mike has received a complaint. He's submitted to the board a list of complaints that he's followed up on, and he'll be dispatched out to look at that complaint again today. All right?
I guess that's what the law says. I just don't understand why I decided you could have 99 cars.
now, Nick, if we would go to this home rule, does it give us more teeth than that? Does anyone?
We
you
can
read that far?
create some more ordinances, but we'd have to seek legal advice to see what all ordinances we could put in
That's right,
place.
Dave. I keep talking about this home rule because unfortunately, we don't get much help from Portage County. They drag their feet. So we're, in years to come, it would really be fruitful for us to see if we could ever get home rule, because that gives us more teeth like a city. But it would be a long education process, because people right away think we're gonna come take their guns. That has nothing to do with it, so. But
Now we're looking at a different one. Directly across the street from 3877, or excuse me, 3845. The gentleman had, I think, 6 cats in his house. And they were living in the garage. He has turned 6 cats loose in the neighborhood. The garage has tough pieces of the garage door has come off the track.
If anybody would like to see, I have 3877 pulled up. I do have the picture with me here, as you can see.
The cats are going.
There's no sidewalk fence right
Garage
there.
door and going in the top of the garage door.
that would be, you should call the health department on that, because they would handle that, Portage County.
Right, now, I have turned that into, he sent me an email, and he turned it into a county. Now, I realize we got this virus going on, they're kind of busy. What's been done about this? The other side of the coin is, I'm out in my front yard mowing grass. And in my neighborhood, there's a lot of ladies that like to walk around the block, get exercise, whatever. And I'm mowing grass, and the lady comes up, excuse me, I got a question for you. What's that? How can you live across the street with that house that smells so bad? I'm standing in the street and I can't stand the smell. You drove by, you probably had to do this. I've got neighbors saying, I got cats all over my yard. What's going on?
I would call the health department. You know, that's what you pay them for. That's why they take all your property taxes. You leave us a little stipend. I'm not mad. But, you know, I would definitely call them. Make noise. You're great at making noise. I would call them. The health department, I mean, they've been very, very receptive to me. You know, I mean, if you don't get anywhere, maybe I can call them, but I think you should call them.
Well, Mike supposedly turned it into.
But that's all we can do. It's outside of our jurisdiction, so he turns the complaint over to the health department, and then it's the health department's piece to deal with. We have no jurisdiction over the health department. I can't force an inspector to come. I can't tell them how to do their job. They're a separate entity from the township. And townships are much different than cities, and that's the piece that we're trying to get people to understand. Where if we were the city of Kent, we have our own health department, and it's our employee, and we can make them act upon that. All we can do is turn the complaint in.
I'm saying, is that a follow-up on this?
As far as the cats?
Yeah.
And the neighbors? So one of the pictures, the one picture that you just seen right here, that's the picture of the house. I could take a picture from the street. I didn't see any cats running around.
See the garage door at the top?
I see the garage door.
That's where the cats are going.
Well, then,
that's not something.
So we're over our 5-minute point here. What I would recommend is that you contact the health department, because that's not a zoning violation. That's going to be a health department violation. So you have to follow up with the Portage County Health Department with your complaint there.
I would kind of assume the township might follow up.
Because
it's a health hazard.
I understand,
It's not
but
that bad. People on the street are complaining about it.
Well,
if
if he's already notified.
Yeah, we've already notified, so we've already done our piece.
So that's all we can do.
At this point, I would recommend that you follow up with the health department. All right, thank you for your time today, Mr. Hartman. Any other public comments or questions? All right, hearing none. Any safety concerns come before the Board of Trustees today? All right.
I got one thing, Nick.
Okay.
Real quick, we're starting to have an issue with people taking our signs we're putting out, cautionary stuff, like high water signs and stuff. We just had a barricade taken. They left the sign, but they put the barricade, which is more expensive than the sign. We've had road closed signs up before, people are pulling them off the side. I just want the public to know that we're putting these things up to protect people. So don't move them and don't try to steal them. I mean, that's what's causing us issues in our department. I mean, you need to put stuff up, it's just going to end up disappearing.
So is it getting, are we seeing items being stolen, or are they just being tossed off to the side into the ditch?
Well, like road closed signs, they'll take the cones and stuff, slide them over off the roadway into the ditch area. Through this high water mess we just had, I just had a barricade stolen from that, which was off to the side of the road, just warning people there's high water from, rising across the roadway, and they didn't steal a barricade.
Okay.
I mean, that was on the corner of Powder Mill and Warrior.
Right, is there anything we need to be doing with the PD on that?
We ran in my head.
Right.
I mean, if someone happens to drive by there in 1 a.m. and snatch one of your signs, it's not a great deal. We're going to be able to do
Right. Well, I mean, I just wanted to bring it up to you because I mean, I'm going to have to start replacing, you know what I mean? And it may be a delay before I get the power stuff, put more stuff up. And also now I'm getting yelled at because we're not putting safety stuff up to protect people, but when they disappear, they disappear. I can't help it. So.
We're putting those GPS trackers on them now, right? So we know in case you're stealing them, we know where you're going.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty fancy sign. They had a flashing orange light on it and all that. So, I just wanted to bring it more to let you know because before I did a little bit of preventive sign footage. Well, now I'm going to have to wait until I know, like we get 3 inches and now I'll wait until I know I definitely have to put it out. Instead of maybe put it out a few hours earlier to let them know I know it's coming. So it's just one thing I just want to let you know.
Dave, do you need to make a report on that sign?
No, they're roots.
Okay.
It'd be underneath, you know what I mean? And like you said, who knows where, it's probably in somebody's garage somewhere, the kid thinks it's cool flashing.
Okay.
Okay. All right, any other safety concerns? Hearing none, we'll move into the business portion of our meeting today. Police Department, Roy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nick. A couple of items for you this morning, just under old business, just a little feedback. reference the neighborhood event we did over at Chapman's Farm Showing Green on Saturday, July 10th. We had great weather that day, which was very helpful to us, and we had a really nice turnout from both developments. Folks came over, so we had a pretty steady crowd for the few hours we were out that day. So overall, that was a good event for us and good community feedback. A couple of items I have for you under new business is I need board approval to accept the Ohio Attorney General's Office Drug Use Prevention Grant for the 2021-2022 academic year in the amount of $2,220.40.
I will make a motion to amend the agenda, because we'll have to put that on the agenda because we're accepting it.
Do we have a PD one?
No, it didn't get printed before they brought it down.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So we need to amend the agenda first.
I'll second that, Nick.
To add drug use prevention grant acceptance.
Drug use. What was it again? Drug use.
Prevention grant.
For 2021-2022.
In the amount of, tell me when you're ready,
I'm ready.
$2,220.40.
While we're here doing the agenda, I just got something I need to put on ACA money on fiscal office.
Okay, so fiscal office, 2C is in Charles.
Yeah.
What is it, the ACA?
Yes. So we're gonna have to accept the funding. Okay. ACA funding, we should just call it.
While we're noting that, I do have a PO for SG Masonry for some concrete work that Dave arranged. Do you need the agenda to be amended to note that as well?
Yeah, it's more than 2,500.
It is.
Yeah. What's that one?
It's $3,200 to SG Masonry.
Is that for the work out back?
Yeah, it's for the concrete repair and drain work.
And that's, what number is that, Nick?
That's gonna be D as in David. Okay. So the motion on the floor right now is to amend the agenda to add C as in Charles drug use prevention grant, D as in David concrete work with SG Masonry under police, and to add under fiscal 2C as in Charles ACA funding acceptance.
I guess I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Motion passed.
And then I'll make a motion to accept the drug use prevention grant for 2021-2022 in the amount of $2,220.40.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right. Next.
Second item for the board is a resolution of necessity for a police protection safety levy for November 2021. You should have a copy of that document.
It's in our email. It is not printed out here.
And the millage has been changed.
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion so we can officially talk about this on the floor. So I would like to make a motion, whereas for the declaring the necessity of an additional continuing levy for the purposes of police protection in excess of 10 mil limitation pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 5705.19J, 5705.191, 5705.25, 505.51. Whereas the amount of taxes may be raised within the 10 mil limitation will be insufficient to provide the adequate amount of the necessary requirements for Brimfield Township, Portage County, Ohio. A resolution declaring necessity of levying a tax under Revised Code 5705.19 outside the 10 mil limitation must be passed and certified to the county auditor of Portage County in order to permit the Board of Trustees to consider the levy of such tax, and must request that the county auditor certify to the Board of Trustees the total current tax valuation of Brimfield Township and the dollar amount that would be generated by a 1.95 mils to be first collected in the tax year of 2021. I need a second for that motion.
I will second it for discussion.
So originally we had a letter of necessity, a resolution of necessity asking for a 2.38 mil levy. We are removing that request now and replacing it with a 1.95 mil request instead. Is that correct? Okay. I think we should talk a little bit about how we got to that point. So we originally we asked the police department to project out for a 5-year piece. We want their budget sufficient for 5 years. They did that with the last levy that was passed. Now we're due for looking at our next 5-year projection. In that projection, what did we land on, Chief? Is it hiring 2 full-time officers, additional officers?
The crux really is part of the strategic planning going forward for that 5-year window was to project over that 5-year window. So what we're projecting is trying to add a minimum of 2 full-time officers over this next 5-year window, which will be aligned with our strategic plan and aligned with the growth that's been taking place in Brimfield Township. So that's really kind of the meat and potatoes portion of that more than anything else.
And then we were at 2.38, so the question may be posed, well, why are you now at 1.95? How did you guys get that number down? And we recently, when we passed the last resolution, the ACA funds had not been appropriated yet for townships. They had changed at the State House. We are now getting an ACA distribution of funding. We're able to distribute some of that to our departments, specifically the police department, to offset their budget to bring that millage down. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And and John, you were able to certify that we were able to use that ACA funds in that manner.
We did. From Roy, or did you get anything back from Greg Beck in writing yet?
Nothing specific other than just the conversation about the topic.
But we met with council to make sure that this works.
Yeah, there was discussion as far as safety force application. That's correct.
Okay. So, and we're always looking for ways for our residents of how we can give you the services that you want and need, and not ask for more money. And so when we found out we were able to get this ACA funding, we didn't want to ask for more than what was necessary. So that's why we're redoing this resolution of necessity, is to bring that millage down to an acceptable level, because we're not trying to have a plethora of cash left over. We're just trying to budget out that 5-year period. Is there questions for the chief on this resolution of necessity? Mike? All right. Hearing none.
Later in the meeting, that's where the funding part we just got approved.
Yeah, we'll accept that funding.
Yep.
Okay. All right. We ask residents whole questions till the end of the meeting during the business portion.
I'd just like to make a comment for the chief, if I could.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Let me have that.
I can tell you right in your face, where I live, you guys, your hands are tied. I understand that. What's going on down there in the Cascades, that's ridiculous.
Yes, sir.
And you need more police equipment. You need more police officers. And I can tell you, everybody where I live, my surrounding community, would vote for a levy to get more police officers for you.
Yeah, that's kind of really the crux of this more than anything else.
We have suffered, because I can remember, it was a daily thing, I see a police car go by. Now I don't see it because they're tied up, I understand that.
Yeah.
And most people understand that too. So as far as levy goes, you're gonna get 90% back as far as I can see.
Yeah, your point's well taken, and I would echo that, not just because I'm a resident of the township as well. So I live here, I work here, I live here. So from the police perspective, when you talk about that retail district out there, and I'm not here to talk negatively about growth for our community, because it brings positives, but it also brings challenges for our safety forces. I think our boards acknowledge that. I think Chief Mugoli is in the same boat that we're in. So as we look ahead as a police department and do our planning and look down the road, so I'm thinking not just what we're gonna need next year, but I'm looking at 2026 and 2027. And that retail district is definitely a draw. A lot of criminal activity comes out of there because we get a lot of theft, and that drives a lot of other activity associated with it. So in a nutshell, that was a long way of me saying the ability to get a couple more police officers on board so I can have that extra car available for the other areas of the township in your neighborhood when I have people tied up in those areas is really kind of what we're looking at here. So I appreciate your feedback.
Yeah, because everyone I've talked to has said, we don't see the police anymore. We don't see the police anymore. Well, they're tied up down here in the Cascades, that's why. Your hands are tied. You don't really have an officer. You can't be here and you can't be there at the same time.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
So we have a
Most
motion.
people understand that.
We have a motion on the floor. I need a roll call vote for the motion.
All those in favor, Mike? Yes. Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Motion passed.
I think it's important too, I just want to highlight again, I know we talked about this in the last meeting, but as people are listening, and we're trying to be more transparent in our meetings, when more houses come, it doesn't mean more money for the police department. Their millage that they collect, the money, if they were associated in 2016, $100, and you had 100 more houses, they don't get more money. They still only get their $100. Each resident just pays a little bit less towards that. And that's one of the reasons that we have this resolution of necessity out there. All right, next on your
Yeah,
list.
the final item was approval of a purchase order in the amount of $3,200 to SG Masonry for concrete to repair the rear parking lot drain access area. I want to also mention to Dave, thank you for your assistance with that, Dave. The heavy rain that we got on Sunday, our garage was flooding with water, and the work that Dave's arranged to have done in the back has alleviated that problem because Sunday our garage was dry. So the concrete work has done what it was intended to do. I appreciate your help with that.
No problem.
That's awesome. So I'll make that motion to accept the purchase order to SDG Masonry for concrete work in the amount of $3,200.
I'll second it. All those in favor, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Mike?
Mike.
Yes. Motion passed.
All right. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Any questions or comments for the police department today? I will say I attended the event that you had back in Chapman Farms. That was great. And I've actually heard from some of my neighbors because the mailer went out about that event. And they asked when you come into our neighborhood next.
We're working on scheduling more of those. We want to get out into the community between now and then.
So it's positive that we're at least hearing that from people saying, well, when's our community, when's our area next?
So lots of hot dogs. It's good.
But we're trying to give them
I do
Pleasant
have
Heights
a
before
comment
we go,
about
sorry.
that. The hot dogs are really good, and I enjoyed mingling with the people. But the invitation was in my mailbox Saturday afternoon when I got home after the event
And I
was
didn't mail,
over.
and I didn't mail it.
I know, you
Yeah.
didn't mail it.
I heard,
so-
I got that feedback from a couple people, and that may have been a postal issue. I know that those cards were arranged
you know
quite
how
some
the-
time
the
ago.
Post office
Yes.
has been gigging, and it's really good lately, so maybe you might want to send that out maybe a week
So,
ahead.
yeah, so I did notice that, and it's on my agenda to talk to Rochelle about it. I had talked to Rochelle prior to that, and Vistaprint had already processed and said it should have been delivered the week before. So it was a postal issue. So we just need to and this is a new program we just started, the quarterly postcards. We'll just have to remind staff, Craig, especially for you under admin, we got to get that to Vistaprint and out approved and printed probably 3 weeks before that next postcard needs to hit. So we'll just need to do it a little bit earlier because we're still seeing postal delays. But hey, it's a learning curve. At least people are seeing the cards. So that's the positive we can take from that. All right, nothing else for the police department. We'll move into fire department. Craig, the floor is yours.
Okay, I'm gonna be simple here. I have interviews set up with the two bidders, two top bidders, which would be Rycon and Lakeland. That's possibly gonna happen on Friday or Monday. I will keep you guys informed, but honestly, I don't really want you there because then it becomes a meeting. So, or if you guys are okay with that.
Right.
I'm gonna handle
You and Ron
those
are
and
gonna
I'll
be there?
follow up. What's that?
You and Ron are gonna be there?
Yeah, yeah, I might have you there if you're
That's fine.
available,
Whatever, just
but
let me know.
it's question and answer. If you do have questions, I know Nick, you had some, submit them to me, because I don't know when that's gonna happen. Okay, so that's coming.
So board members, if you have any questions that you want to know about this will be the general contractor who we're gonna have to deal with in the next 2 to 3 years. If you got specific questions you want answered, let's get them to Ron and Craig so that they can ask both the contractors the same questions.
All right, I mean, Craig's gonna be the one
Yeah, I'm gonna deal
leading
with
it, so you're the one that has to be totally.
Yeah, and Moody Nolan will be there to ask their side of the question, so I'm gonna let them guide the discussions.
Are we on track for next trustee meeting then to hopefully be able to accept the bid?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Okay.
I mean, assuming they meet with me in the next few times, so. I did have one ad real quick, so what I want to put forth for the resolution that we talked about last time about charging hotels and alarm drops. I have 2 pieces to that. I have Streetsboro's piece, which looks really good. I have ran it past an attorney, which looks really good. I'm waiting on Rootstown Township to get me theirs. So hopefully by next meeting.
Okay.
So I just want a township's view also.
Right. Are we still having issues with the false alarm drops
Yes.
there? We're still getting, did they get the key issue fixed yet?
They told me they're scrapping the whole system and redoing the whole hotel, so
Well, but how long is that gonna take that we're gonna keep taking false alarms?
they'll get billed real quick, so.
Okay.
Craig, isn't that specific to statute? Isn't the ORC statute? It's pretty great.
Yep. Yeah, but I wanted an attorney's opinion also, so it can be done. We will do it. It just,
Well, and
I
you
want
need
to make
to-
sure the language is right.
You need to ask the attorney if there's a cooling off period. So if we pass that resolution, is it effective immediately? Is there a 3-month, 6-month cool off before we can officially charge?
John, I would just have to get you to see how we're gonna bill it out.
That's fine.
That's all I have.
All right, any questions for the fire department? All right, hearing none, we'll move into administration. Craig, floor is yours again.
I have none on that either.
Okay, we do have on here an update from the Portage County Visitors Bureau. Did somebody talking on that?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
I represent the township at the Portage County Central Visitors Bureau, which is it's a county board. And anyway, we meet the first Tuesday of each month at 7:30 in the morning. And we have been meeting by Zoom forever and ever. And we've had our first back together live meeting, and that was yesterday. I just want to share, we're working on the visitor's guide for Portage County, for the area here. And these visitors guide cost the Bureau $20,000 is the estimate. And this would be for a two-year plan. When anybody contacts the Visitors Bureau and they want to know what's going on in Portage County, they are sent one of these brochures. And it's an actual booklet. And then they have some that we give out to businesses to give out to people. And anyway, what we want to do, that visitor's guide is getting ready for the final review. And it covers all of Portage County in central of this area here. Really very, very professionally done. I'm really pleased. And then the Heartland Travel is in the planning stages of bus trips for this area for now and next year. And when you go to the Heartland Travel page on your computer, all the links add to the homepage of our Visitors Bureau here. And Cassie's been working a little bit with the Visitors Bureau to get input about Brimfield in that magazine. So good about that. There's going to be a photo shoot July the 24th and July the 25th, and they're going to go some Brimfield and some Kent and actually do this up really first class for us. And I just wanted to let you know that there's a lot going on behind the scenes. That's my report.
On that visitor guide, is it talking about specific events that are taking place over the next 2 years?
Has the events in there? And
Are we able to get our major events posted in there? Like, we know Touch a Truck is always this weekend. We can schedule out the Fall Harvest Festival to get those in those guides. Are we making sure that's getting done?
I think if you would call Diane Gakem, she could help you with that.
Yeah, Diane Rock. Yeah.
I just,
And
if we
they
can,
have all that.
we know we have our big ones, right? We have our Touch a Truck event, we have Fall Harvest Festival, we have Brimfest or Brimfest 2.0. Maybe we need to make a call and say, hey, let's schedule 2022s already, just so it's in the guide, because that brings more people to our township. If we're getting free advertising, let's not miss out on that opportunity.
Yeah, Diane's very receptive, so.
What do they say? They want heads in beds.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
But Sue, just, I don't know if you made it, it's not a county board, it's our board. It's for the Brimfield. Because remember, it's the breakup
The
of,
central.
yeah, Central
yeah.
Port, because remember,
Central Portage.
yeah, remember Kent didn't want to work with us,
Right.
so they split off, and that's, but yeah, you're right, I'm glad you're on the board.
Yeah, it's doing well,
Yep, and that's, you know,
even through the COVID.
right, and that's
We kept
our
working with the
hotel
Zoom.
tax dollars that work.
Right. And our hotel tax, bed tax, which comes to us.
That's why we need some of these deadbeat hotels to start paying their money.
Well, that's why, but we also need to leverage this marketing piece for our events. So
Right.
this is all, Cassie, more about,
We'll just work with Sue.
Scheduling more
Or I can give
further
you
out.
Diane's number, so whatever.
yeah, it'd be more Cassie. She just needs to make sure she has scheduled 2 years out for the major events.
Right.
Set dates.
Okay.
Or I can contact her.
Yeah, give Diane a call.
Sure.
I would call her today because it sounds like they're close to finalizing. All right, number 2 under administration, new business, B as in boy, hiring a part-time parks person. I'll entertain a motion to hire.
I'm gonna make that motion.
And I will second that motion for the hiring of a part-time parks and recs. What's the official job title?
Park and Rec Assistant, right?
Park and rec assistant. Okay, motion is on the floor. We had already accepted the job description previously. We just need to, John, if you and Kirsten would like to chat, we just need to put them into that pay schedule, that spreadsheet that I created, so that we just have the step raises in. Okay.
It's Bowman, Bowman.
Aaron Bowman. Any questions or discussion?
All those in favor, Sue?
Aye.
Aye.
Mike?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right. Any questions for administration from anybody?
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Keep her busy.
Just remind her, did she submit her paperwork for background and all that already?
She did that, and then I just gave her all of her paperwork for and all that, so she'll have it ready to go on her
Okay.
first day.
Just, right,
Yeah.
but she submitted. I just want to make sure she went down and did it because there can be a delay there sometimes.
Well, and I'm kind of asking that question until we have results. She can't work.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not, especially because there's direct contact with public and kids, we would have to wait for that background.
Make sure.
So we'll do it,
Yeah,
her date of hire is gonna be the Monday after she gets
It's easier.
approved with Cassie. All right, so just keep me posted.
All right, we'll move into our next section then, which is zoning and economic development. Mike Ladd, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Board of Zoning Appeals hearing is July 21st, 7 o'clock. Next zoning commission meeting is August 12th at 7 o'clock. The zoning commission, we did it the last time, so everybody's aware, we're starting to take the comprehensive land use plan, look at where the areas that we'd like to change throughout the next few years, taking the plan, and we're going to start adopting areas and looking into the GC district down 43, where it breaks off and it goes down Howe Road and everywhere where it will never be commercial. We're looking at those areas that go back to residential. So that's what we're looking at. That's going to be the next conversations this year. I'd like to achieve that or at least get that started. Regional planning is tonight, 4:30. I'll be attending that. Heritage of Brimfield Nursing Home has permits and they're starting here soon. The surveyor was out, restaked everything. They should be signing our sign easement. And as soon as they sign our sign easement agreement, along with the schools, we'll get started on those two first. And then we'll move to the other.
So we're close on those two signatures?
Yes, and then Mark's working with, they had some concerns with the easement language down on 18, where it goes to Rootstown. So he's working it out with them.
Are we close to that being done too?
That's close, within a day or two, I would assume, so.
Okay.
Redwood apartment homes continue to install and grade. The roadway is now poured if you go past. Hickory Hills subdivision continues to install and grade utilities. The engineering inspection firm is documenting erosion control and dust issues, but it's ultimately Portage Soil and Water's responsibility for enforcing. So last meeting I was here, there's some complaints on dust for the Hickory Oaks. I went down there, met with the engineering firm that's inspecting from the county. They are documenting, taking pictures, and they absolutely 100% agree with the complaints. It all falls down to Portage Soil and Water. I believe his name is Eric that's in charge. And we keep sending stuff off to him, as well as Dave has had conversations with them down there, but they don't seem to do enforcement.
So we're not getting any, so we've documented there are justified concerns.
Every single day.
I'm not saying the resident was wrong, but the resident had the complaint. We took it, our firm looked into it and said they are doing the job improperly.
Yes, and so the problem is that the Soil and Water is not enforcing their erosion control and their dust issues. So they brought a water truck there and they took it on the site and for example, Soil and Water's like, good to go. They got a water truck there now. Well, there's no water in it, so they couldn't squirt it down. Now there's no dust issue now because of the amount of rain, but we're going to encounter this again. So
who does the Soil and Water Division report to? They report to the Board of Commissioners, or do they
Board
have
of
separate?
Commissioners.
Okay. So I think at this point, can you get me a copy of those findings from our engineer?
Yeah, we could get a copy of all the inspection.
If you can give me some inspection records and notes, highlight the concerns. Okay. I'd like to take this forward, if the board's comfortable with that, to Sabrina, the president of the commissioners, to lodge at least the initial complaint with Soil and Water.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you can get me that by the end of the week, that way I
Yes.
can talk to Sabrina.
Okay.
And then we'll get that into their board's hands.
Okay, sounds good. Jiffy Lube is approved. Construction will begin. I don't know what they're waiting on. I've been saying that and they keep saying, yeah, we're starting soon. Hamrick Manufacturing has approved zoning certificate. They're working out some building issues with the building permit, but other than that, they're good to go with us. Wave Wash Car Wash has started at Maple Crest. I don't know if anybody's been down there, but they did start the construction on that one. That's good to go. Demolition of abandoned homes will start in August. So Mark had emailed last night. Nick, you have them. We're going to send out one more certified letter before we demo these properties. It's got for your signature on it, as well as I'd like to, if it's okay with the police, we were going to post it on the doors for the demolition and also send them out certified so that everybody's fully aware. We're trying to make it foolproof so that if anybody, we knock their house down, they try to sue later, at least we have all our ducks in a row.
So you need my signature on those documents?
Yeah.
Can
We'll
you
print them
send-
out and send them to
Yeah.
Kirsten.
Once you print them, call me. I'm off today, so I'm pretty free. I can swing by the office and do some quick signatures.
Okay. The board already approved it for the second letters and notices to go out. We're just waiting on them. And then
So, but so there was 4 houses that are up for demo. Way I read Mark's email that it was 5:30 in the morning, so
Yeah.
I might have got part of it wrong.
Yeah.
But 2 of the houses were clear for. 2 of them we're still worried about because there's a tenant issue and potential valuables
So
issue.
it was an abandoned house on 1435 Talmadge. When we did the inspection, they found that there's a squatter or somebody living in there. So we just want to make sure that we can clear the house, make sure nobody's in it when we go to demo.
So the prosecutor's office is trying to figure that out.
With Mark, yeah, and Mark's pushing it. There's some reasons we want to get the prosecutor involved as well. Mark's going to do the work, but we want to keep the prosecutor involved ultimately, it's their responsibility. We're just pushing the prosecutor to go faster.
Roy, is that something that you've dealt with before between here or other departments if we go to do a demolition and happen to remove people from the premises?
We had the gentleman on Old Ford Road.
Yeah.
We were out for that just because of ongoing issues with him being disorderly and some prior arrests and things like that. But it's more of a standby, just make sure there's no problem issues. So yeah, if he needs some assistance from us in that regard, we can do that.
And you're comfortable dispatching officers to put the notices on the doors once we sign those?
Yeah, we're just putting a notice up on the door. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And we need to put that in dispatch notes so that we can document it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Good. So I do have some other ones that are going to take to the prosecutor's office. I'm requesting board approval to send 3773 Pelham and 1178 Sandy Lake Road to the prosecutor's office for further action. You should have copies. They were emailed to you.
Yes.
The one is dumping and storing scrap metal and garbage. That's the one on Sandy Lake Road. I've gone past several times. I keep getting complaints on it. And the last time they were sun tanning in the middle of the garbage, and I'm like, geez, I don't know why they won't clean up, but.
Well, I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Let's do them as individual motions just to make life easier. So
Sure.
you want to start with this one, which is going to be 3773 Powell.
3773 Pelham Lane is my motion for.
Prosecutor's office, prosecutor. I'll second that for discussion. So what is Pelham Lane? Because we were just talking about Sandy Lake.
So Pelham Lane, hold on, I'm just pulling it out, is junk motor vehicle cars, junkyards. If you take a look at some of the pictures that were sent to you, it's just out of use vehicles, garbage all over the place. And I think he's got a mechanic shop in there as well. So
He's not responding to your complaints, your
No.
letters.
No.
All right, any questions for zoning before this goes to the prosecutor's office? All right, hearing none, roll call vote.
All those in favor, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Mike, so Mike. What did he say?
Nick.
Mike, yes. Okay, we're all in favor. Motion passed. I'm so far down here, I can't hear anything.
We need acoustic
Speaking of
panels.
my microphone.
All right, and then we need a second motion. So I'll make a motion to send 1178 Sandy Lake Road Prosecutor's Office for further action. Need a second?
I'll second it.
This is for dumping, storing, disposing of stuff, garbage. Is there any questions on that from the board?
No, looks pretty good.
All those in favor, Sue?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Mike? Yes. Motion passed.
So and then last is the zoning report. Year to date is 191,681.70 for zoning permits and fire permits. That's the highest recorded year. And then Lauren is off this week. She'll be back on Monday. So if somebody's coming in and I'm out doing inspections, just be patient. I have a note on the door to call and schedule for and appointments. And then I'll be working with Roy on some of the census stuff, trying to get them accurate numbers.
Did you talk to Rochelle and Kirsten in case somebody comes in? You send them up?
Lauren has.
They're not there?
Yeah, Lauren did.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Mike, 1873 Old Forge.
Okay.
I know that, you know, your report said that it's been mowed. I drive by it often, it sure don't look mowed. That's that she puts sheep and goats out in the front yard.
Oh, no, she's with the prosecutor's office. The one on Old Forge where there's, as soon as you pull
Yeah,
to
I
the
know what
right,
that-
there's,
Yeah, I don't know what's
no,
going
no,
on
no, no,
there.
that already, we sent that to the prosecutor's office. As far as the mowing, there's nothing we could do about the mowing. We don't have a high grass violation.
I think
but-
there's something in soil and water, but if they mow once a year, that covers them for the entire year. So they just have to do one cutting.
Right.
I cut my hayfield more than once.
All I gotta do is mow roadways twice a year. That's it. So.
Yeah, and then I am also, it's not on here, but I did get a hold of Brett. And, you know, the things that we need from him, we're meeting on Friday, and he's going to be signing the letter. So the one that you've gotten over on Sunnybrook with all the trucks that park on the weekends and back and forth with those emails, we're going to address that one. He has not gotten service. So the prosecutor was working on it, and he was sending letters off to it. They're just not getting any service. So we're going to officially sign court paperwork on Friday.
Hey, Mike, I drive by that multiple times because we do the catering. I'm gonna start keeping a list of when I see trucks or when I don't, but I'm telling you, I saw trucks there once. So I don't know if he's sneaking them in when my truck leaves.
That's what I mean, the pictures I get.
I'm not seeing them.
They have to, you must take a picture as soon as they come in, because I go past like the next day or that day and they're not there. And I'm like,
Well, I will, just for the board, I mean, I'm going to take, when I drive by, because I will take if it's there, I'll write the time and the date. And, you know, I mean, I just don't get it, because, you know, ever since I first talked to this gentleman, so I started looking. And I'm not seeing it, so I don't know.
we have several in the community that we get complaints, and you'll see the same addresses over and over and over. I don't know if it's neighbor feuds or what, but consistently I'll go out and there's no violations.
I know, I'm not.
Well, we need a mechanism in place too of how we handle these, because we get inundated with the email now too of, you know, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing something about it? Well, there's a process. First of all, we try to explain that to them, but you know, what do we need from the prosecutor's office? Is this something we can even pursue? And if it's not, you know, I'm of the thought process of, let's not sugarcoat this. Let's just tell the resident there's nothing we can do, or there is something and this is what we're doing.
I mean, if it's with the prosecutor, there's nothing we can do.
Right.
I mean, maybe you ought to think twice about who you vote for. In Portage County, I mean, it's terrible that we have to keep going back to our issues are results of Portage County.
Right.
Not doing their job.
Right. Well, and that's why, and I do want to, we'll talk later, Mike, but this spreadsheet here that you have, I'd like to sit down with Lauren and spend some time with her to turn it into more of a dashboard piece too. So we have quick looks at this and then better tracking mechanisms to hold the county a little more accountable out of the prosecutor's
I
office.
think the first step of getting the county on board and what has really gotten their attention is when I turned everything over to Mark for these demolitions, because it was taking way too long. And, you know, we keep going past, the guy's just parking on, you know, you've seen that house, it's a mess.
But
And-
unfortunately, the prosecutors is our legal system,
Yes,
right?
so we have to do
They're
it.
a assigned attorney, and it doesn't cost us anything. When we have to bring Mark in, it costs us money.
It costs us money, and Mark did prepare the letters that the county should be preparing. And he just worked in coordination, called him up and said, hey, I'm doing this work because it's just, you know, it's taking too long. You either you're too busy.
Well, yeah,
or what.
and then
Yeah.
like they told us, we timed out because it took too long to do the process. We give it to them, then we're past the date. Now we have to start all over again. That's not fair to our residents.
Right. It costs money.
Right. Okay. The only other thing I have under zoning is I know that the zoning commission is starting to work through the land use plan. Can we focus in, because I know you're doing sections of the township at a time, can we make sure we tie up the town center district before we venture off anywhere else? I think we need to secure that town center. If we don't secure that with proper zoning right now, it's going to cause us problems in the future.
Yeah, and we're looking as far as even the historical areas. So yeah, that's you know, conversations we're having. Everything that's in the plan we want to implement.
Yeah, I know we want to implement it all, but if we're gonna chunk it out and we're starting with the first chunk, we need to start with town center, and then we'll start to build out from there. We need to look at town center and then identify where the fastest growth is happening and what areas we need to try to control growth in.
Before we touch that, we had step one, which was, it's at regional planning tonight. So
So they're
that,
gonna vote tonight on that change of language?
the language changed so that, use is not covered, come before the Board of Zoning Appeals. We're eliminating that language so that if it's not something that's already in the town center district, you can't come in and apply for, let's say, a gas station. You can't
So
do it. It's not.
Do we
in the
need to
town
do a
center.
public hearing on that when it comes before
We
the Board
will,
of
we
Trustees?
will be doing public hearings both at zoning commission level. Once it comes back from regional planning, we'll hold a public hearing. They'll perform that. Then they're going to vote on it. Send it to you guys. We'll have another public hearing and then you guys vote on it. And then there's a wait period of like 30 days or something.
Okay. So can zoning commission at their next meeting schedule a public hearing for that
Yes.
if regional planning talks tonight?
Correct.
Okay. That's the piece that needs fast tracked. Okay.
Hey, Mike, did they get a zoning permit for the new gas station, I guess, that they're putting up next to BP, the old one?
The marathon.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they did. Yeah.
Is it another
There
gas
was,
station that they're
it was alterations at, is all they did there. There is a proposal behind there now. There was one developer that wanted to come in, put a strip plaza in with the Dunkin' Donuts and he had all these great ideas. And he was working with Sabrina and I did the soils report back there. And I think that's the one I talked to you about. The soils are bad. And then you mentioned there was a chemical place there.
There's Puritan Systems.
Yeah. At one point. So, he backed out of it just based off soils, but now there's another proposal for indoor storage units. And they had a 49,000 square foot storage building. And then they have 5 or 6 other separate buildings that they're looking at building, all climate controlled. But, that's the
Or are they
proposal.
turning that
right
back into a gas station in the front there?
now. Gas station's gonna stay. Yeah.
I mean, but it's gonna turn back into a gas, they were replacing pumps, I guess, the other day out there,
Correct.
still working on it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Anything else for zoning? All right, hearing none, we'll move into road department. Dave, floor is yours.
All right. I just wanted to give an update on our old business, Sugar Maple paving project. We had a couple really bad soft spots in that area. So what we're doing is they dug them out and they 304'd them. That way we make a solid road again. The weather's been playing havoc on Cardinal trying to get this done. I mean, they were hoping to actually be done this week, but it'll probably not be until next week. So I just wanted to give you an update just in case. The residents have been real good out there. They've been listening. And Cardinal, Todd, their head guy, and our OmniPro inspector, they've been explaining everything to people as it's going to out there. So there's really good communication going on. So everything's so far going good. Probably takes another week.
No problem with on the road parking. I know that was our biggest concern.
No, not right at the moment. Everybody's been doing really good with that too. Landscapers, they've been asking where they can park. They park and they run their mowers up the road where they're staying out of the way. Everything's been going a little smooth that aspect except for the rain. The rain's really been putting hurt and the way the allotment was built. And the day they built it, we had to do a complete replacement of the cul-de-sac on Perrywood. It was pumping so bad that we ended up having to put 6 to 8 inches of 304 in to compact it to get the road stabilized to handle new asphalt.
Okay.
And then there was this chunk on Sugar Maple itself, 30 by 20 patch that we're working on. That was actually where we found the worst problem. Dump truck went back in and started putting asphalt in, sunk in about 15 inches. So we removed 12 inches of terrible soil, again, compacted stone and stuff, and that's bridged really well, so it's really good shape. So after they've done the work, they drove a dump truck on it, loaded. It hasn't moved, so everything's good. We're just now trying to get back to the repairing of the road. So I just wanted to give you a little heads up. On the new business side of stuff, we did a catch basin at the police department. Just to let you know, we lowered the catch basin 2 inches because the contractor ever put it in before, they had the catch basin only 1/8 of an inch lower than the garage floor. So if the water did miss the catch basin, it was going right in Roy's garage. So we dropped it 2 inches, and like Roy said, it's really worked well. So glad that happened, since I didn't know what else to do. We're doing some various asphalt locations, like some driveways we had where we replaced culvert pipes, replacing the asphalt back in them. Doing some dirt patching on weather permitting, especially now with the chip and seal process moving forward. I really want to get on the roads like Conyers Lake, Dussel, Silneck, Malloy, Klein, Sherman, make sure they're up, ready to go for once the chippers get here. There's no hold up on them. We probably will be doing some berming on them roads too. So residents, if you're listening, you live on them roads, that's us. We're gonna come through and take off about 1 foot, 2 foot off the white line to clear it up to get the water off the road better. We've been working on replacing culvert pipes. I've been working on various complaints, anything from culvert pipes being plugged to there's a branch down in my yard, just odds and ends, just all over the board. Tom, I've been really working him hard, our part-timer. He's been hanging with me and putting him through the ringer. Just to let you know, we had some issues with the heavy rain. Actually, one resident told me he had 3.25 inches of water just on Sunday alone. So, I mean, we had major flooding going on in places. So, actually, I was real happy with our pipe on Selnick, the box culvert we put in last year. It was running right to the top of the opening, but never flooded the road. So we're in great shape there. And just to let you know, the boom mower was supposed to be in this week, but a few bad things it got pushed back a little bit. We'll probably get it within the first week of August. So it's right. I mean, we'll get it. We'll be able to use it quite a bit, but it's been pushed back a couple more weeks. So.
I had a couple questions, Dave, that came in. First of all, did you get my text about the soccer goals?
Yes, they're already moved.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't catch you back.
No, that's okay. You're fast. I appreciate that. So they're in the backfield.
The two biggest goals are set at our shop.
Okay.
I'd like Craig know the one, it looks like an animal chewed the netting.
Okay.
So he's gonna order the net, so we'll get that when he gets here.
Because they will take care of the lining of the field and all that. They just need you guys to mow like you normally do. But July 26th is first practice, so I'm going to be meeting with Tom to just go out and line fields. No, because they're going to bring their own goals for the Kelso fields. Okay. It's hard for them to haul the big goals. So if we have them permanently, yeah. No, they just need the big goals down here for the U14 games, and then they'll take care of the Kelso fields.
Yeah, good thing you didn't see how we were.
It's okay. I'm not going to ask questions.
Nope, that was pretty interesting.
I was getting some complaints over on Ivanhoe about flooding in the front yards, the catch basins. The one that resident showed me, his catch basin is just completely covered. So it's full of like leaves and whatnot, so the water's not flowing there. But also, I guess Aqua is telling all the residents back there that 2 of the pipes are crushed for the storm water. And that's why they're getting backup. So the residents are getting frustrated because Aqua knows about it and isn't fixing it, but it's really not Aqua's problem. So I don't know if we need to have a conversation with them or figure out that, but there's concerns with storm water in the front yards, down Ivanhoe and then around the front, what is that, Hanover through there. I guess some people's houses, one resident, he said his house started to flood on the inside because the water back up.
Yep.
Yeah, but we got to take responsibility and take a look at the stormwater and figure out what we're going to do. I don't know if it's a larger project for 2022, 2023, and we look at some grant funding potentially, but if those are all caving in. The big concern they have is when their house floods, it's hard to get rid of the water because those are all slab homes, and the heating pipes are in the slab.
Well, what happens a lot over in that area too, I mean, I'll just let you know too, there was a lot of ditch ways behind these houses that were supposed to take the water and disperse it. And a lot of the residents have taken the ditch and covered or put a shed on it. So they kind of diverted the water themselves.
Right.
But yet they'll call, I mean, I've been back there and I've talked to people, a neighbor put a fence up. Well, the leaves built up on the fence. He left a gap for the water, but the leaves built up. Well, instead of, he'd say it this way, the resident just going back and taking a rake and kicking the leaves out of the way, called me and said, I got to do something about the fence. I got to read blah, blah, blah. It's just took a foot, kicked the leaves out of the way.
Yeah, well, this one he showed me, it was the actual catch basin. It's just covered and stuff, and he probably should clean it himself, right?
Right.
But also, it's right at the roadway edge, but they said it's all just backing up through that whole front piece.
Well, and that's the thing. Once the leaves and debris blocks the catch basin, it's not doing its job. So now it's just letting the water pass to the next one, or like I said, not taking the water and it just sits there. So We'll get out, take a look at it. We'll get at least that cleaned off and go from there.
And maybe it's worth having a conversation because Aqua must be doing some digging back there and they found some crushed pipes. So.
Yeah, I don't know Aqua's even back. Normally they contact me when they're doing the work. So I mean, quote unquote, if they're finding crushed pipes, I mean, I hate to say it this way, Aqua might have caught some.
Right.
You know, so if they're telling residents, oh, no, the township got crushed, truthfully, it could be the opposite. They may have crushed it and contractor not fix it, so.
Right. Yeah, I just want to put it on your agenda. So
I'll
you
call
know.
the guy from Aqua. We'll talk about it. Find out what's this, your guys are telling people we have crushed pipes.
Right.
And
Because it just creates issue for us. That's how I ended up over there.
Well, but if he's stating we have crushed pipes, well, then you must have seen it and you never called anybody to contact us to let us know either, so. All right, note that order.
I appreciate it.
Okay,
Yeah.
the Aquaman came to my house to put a new meter. Yeah, the Aquaman. He came and put a new meter, water meter, and told me that the horseshoe of Elmhurst, probably first part of August, they're going to tear up my whole street and put new piping in the horseshoe.
Yes. Yeah, that, I think that was back in March, I brought up, they were putting bids out for it, that they were gonna be bidding that out. And quote, I was stated that I had, until they had numbers, they weren't positive, but that was one of the last pieces that needed replaced in the allotment.
Yeah.
We're going to hold them accountable for proper road repair after that too, right?
Yes.
Well, we do with all of them.
Right, but just because I know it's a mess back there.
Yeah, because they've asked for our specs, what we want going across the roadways and stuff, so.
Well, I'm not gonna dust till September if they're gonna come in.
Right, you might go on vacation again.
I'm on vacation, yeah.
All right, any other questions for road department? Here and now we'll move into Parks and Rec. Cassie, the floor is yours.
All right, I had two minor changes to my report. It doesn't need to be changed to the agenda, so I'll just address them as I go down the list here. So under old business, I had part-time parks position. We already went through that, so I'd like to say thank you for that. Ever since I started in this position, I knew eventually that I would need some help. So I'm really glad that that day is upon us. So I'm very excited for Aaron to get started. Under Brimfield Community Days, I put cancellation fee for bands myself. I didn't need to put it on my report, so just ignore that. But, we do have an update for you on Brimfield Community Days.
Cassie? Yeah. We have such an echo in this room.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
When you talk, if you face this way, I can at least read your lips.
Yeah.
And kind of slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I have updates about Brimfield Community Days. John, I don't know if you wanted to address that or wanted me to address it.
Well, I can. Cassie and I have been working about the budget for the community days. We have everything included. It's about $10,000. It's gonna drop from there. That includes the bands, the train, the bouncy houses, the tent rental, and the chairs, all that stuff. We're making adjustments to that. We're also, Aaron and Cassie are going out and pushing the businesses to donate some money. Mike Ladd's actually helping with a couple of the developers to see if we can get some additional money for that. We do have it in her budget just in case we aren't able to cover all of it with donations, that we'll be able to pick that up. So everything's taken care of from the planning. We're gonna reserve the chairs first, right? Because that we have to get on their list. We're probably gonna do that by the end of the week. We're waiting for some cash to come in to be able to go out and process those, but those will all be done by the end of the week. So she's doing a good job with all that, but we have it all set up and planned. It's just, we're trying to get donations as well.
And the fireworks is Saturday.
Fireworks already got paid for as well. Greg helped with that with Meyer. They're picking up the cost of the fireworks. So that'll be Saturday night.
Okay. No, I'm excited for this. This is going to be a great event. So.
Cassie, we better reserve those generator light towers.
That's the other thing.
As soon as possible, because if it goes dark, it'll be dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we need to at least lock that contract in.
Okay, yep, I can do that.
I skipped that, sorry.
No, that's okay. Okay. The next update is about the trees here at the community center that we discussed at our last meeting. Last meeting, I presented you with the quote from Kuntzman for the tree work here at $27,500. I got a quote from GP Tree and Davy Tree as well. So do you have those in front of you? Were those printed for you?
Now, the one was just broke down per hour,
Yeah,
or
GP.
per day.
Yes, they had a quote of $5,500 per day, and they're estimating between 2.5 to 4 days of work. So that would be a maximum of 22,000, which comes in below.
22,000?
Yeah, yep. And then Davy Tree came in at 26.5. However, they are currently, he gave that to me as a preliminary quote, but they're also looking into exactly what is causing the trees to die around here. So they're actually doing some more work. They took some samples when they were here and they're bringing them to their lab. So they're trying to determine what the cause of that is. And they actually think that they can save some of the trees around here as well, if they can figure out what that is. So.
What I think, and that was my big concern before, what is killing all the trees? Because if we just chop them down and there's some virus, right? There's a bug, there's whatever it is that's causing this, we're just gonna lose more trees.
Right.
So I think in my opinion, we hold off to hear what Davy Tree has to say from their lab and we can figure out what's happening because we just don't need it spreading everywhere.
Sure. I met with a representative here and we went through all of the trees. And he said his two best guesses so far are either oak wilt or he thinks there may have been some sort of chemical issue that was causing the tree damage. But he's going to get back to me on that.
What are you hiding back here, Dave?
Yeah.
So
So,
where we are with that as well, just we're pushing that off a little bit farther too, because it gets cheaper in the fall to do
Right.
all that. They're already scheduled out until middle end of September already. So if we wait another month or two, we're gonna be right in the fall season when it gets cheaper. But
Okay.
hopefully Davy Tree will come back so we don't have to take all those down.
Well, yeah, hopefully they figure out what the problem is and we can put a plan together to resolve the issue.
yeah. GP Tree said if we wait till that after Thanksgiving is their off season, it would come down to $4,900 a day. So there would be a little bit of a savings there. And I discussed with John that in the meantime, we'll just pay attention to the trees here. And if we do have an emergency situation, we can handle it as it comes.
Okay. All right, I appreciate that.
All right. My other minor change here was the Brimfield Parks Advisory Committee meeting is tomorrow. It will be at 5:30 instead of 6:30. The next item is the NOPEC grant items here at the community center. A few months ago, we approved the window and door replacement here. That has already begun. It began yesterday. We replaced 2 of the sliding windows upstairs already. So these doors here, the sliding door downstairs, the other window and the other window upstairs will be done before the end of the week. Under new business, I just listed some of our upcoming programs here. We have a night hike tomorrow night at 7:30 at Lions Park. On Saturday, is that Saturday or Sunday? Saturday, the 24th. We have yoga at Cranberry Creek Park at 10 a.m. I am partnering with Courtney Martinelli. She is a yoga instructor that lives in Brimfield. So we're kind of doing this as a trial run to see if this program is successful. And if so, we may plan some more programs in the future. And then on the Thursday, the 29th, we'll be having the concert at the park with American Steel. And that is that's 6:30 to 8. Right, Mike? I think.
I'm sure the guys will be there by 3. 3 to 11.
And then my last item is addressing the goose issue at the Kelso soccer fields. I did have a meeting with the goose doctor, yesterday. And they actually, during this meeting, sent me a quote for what their services would cost. So what they do is they spray this chemical on the field, on the entirety of the field, 6 times a year, so twice per season in the spring, summer, and fall. And it's a chemical that it's not harmful to the geese, but it just causes digestive upset that makes them not want to eat our grass seed anymore. And it's also visible in their UV light spectrum, so they can begin to recognize it. And once they see it, they'll know not to eat there anymore. They said that we're basically asking for geese to come there because we planted new grass seed. There's nowhere for predators to hide, so they feel safe there. And we have the water next door. So we will continue to have this problem unless we do something about it. So their quote was $550 per application, and that would be 6 times a year, which would come to a yearly cost of $3,300.
Let me ask a couple questions on that.
Sure.
When they apply this, what is its effect on the grass and the grass seed as we're trying to get roots to grow there?
That's a good question. I don't think it would have any effect
I
on the
read
grass
into it,
seed.
there is no effect.
Yeah, they didn't.
It's, the only effect is that when it gets in the stomach, it gives them terrible upset stomach.
How about, is there any effect on human?
No. He said you can play on it that day.
Unless they're eating the grass.
Well, I'm just worried, like, with sports, the kids are
Right,
throwing
right.
their water bottles down in the grass. I don't need them picking up a water bottle and then
Right.
end up with an upset stomach that night.
Right.
But it's, definitely, judging by the amount of goose crap, I mean, I think that's definitely an issue, so.
They're eating really good.
Are we starting to see a buildup of geese over there again, or are we not seeing an issue right now?
I admit that I don't get over there super often, but the times I have been there, I haven't really noticed an issue.
Well, with the goose cycle, 'cause I'm always against mine, is, when they're nesting and once they have their young, that's when you see all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they sort of disperse for a bit. Then when hunting season comes, they're all gone.
Okay.
So I just, I gave you that number just so you could really.
So is this something that we would do starting next year? Is, I guess, what I'm actually getting.
Probably, yeah.
Well, what if, because you're going to have, well, they're not using the fields this year.
Yeah, they start August 1st.
We really ought to consider maybe even.
Can I get one application?
Yeah, no, I'm okay with it. I just wanted to know what the request was today. Are we asking for approval to do a couple applications
I
this
think
year?
we need to get proactive and get on it before, you start getting all the complaints and stuff.
Can
How much
we,
is one?
$550?
You just remember, we don't have a motion, we need a motion. Just approve it, get it done through PO, you guys will sign off on it.
Right. Well, it would be less than 2,500 anyways, correct? We're at the end of the year, we'll probably get 2, maybe 3 applications max in for the year. Probably get 2.
I can just do it out of my phone.
That's a better idea.
Okay, go ahead, make a motion. Okay. That works.
So we don't need a motion.
Yeah, no motion needed. So yeah, if we can get that scheduled now before,
See if I can do 1 or 2 applications.
we could do it before the week soccer starts, that way it's just kind of taken care of.
Right.
And then,
Mike's right, you hit it
If
right
they-
around when they have their babies, we'll be fine.
okay.
If you could maybe do it sooner than better, because, you want
Yes.
to break up that routine.
It's August 1st is when soccer starts, so I mean, that would be, by the time we schedule it.
Very
it'd be-
soon,
yeah.
right?
Okay,
It looks like they like to do it like early in the season and late in the season, so August would probably be the end of summer when they would normally do it anyway.
all right. All right, any questions for Parks and Rec? All right, hearing none, we'll move into cemetery. No old business, no new business. Any questions or comments on cemetery?
Comments, you need to go look at the column burial wall.
Yeah.
I drove through when he was, looked like he was staining the concrete or something, or putting some type
Yeah,
of
it's
top
like
coat on it.
it matches the retaining wall. There's like a pattern that's on there. He's
Okay.
got a pattern on the concrete. It looks really cool together. But now we're just waiting for the common burials to come in. And we're getting the stone seats donated to us from Portage.
Portage Farm.
Mark.
And Nick, just so you know, sometime I'm gonna meet with Sue and just do a quick video so she can give a highlight. This week I went out of time.
Okay, no, that's great.
Well, and Dave's gonna put on his project list when we're all done with all that to do landscaping around the outside of it. So because there are some areas where the concrete you have to step up onto, so they're gonna fill all that in.
Dave and I talked about that
That's
yesterday.
legal stuff. So just in case somebody asks a question, it is actually to where it's like a legal step.
Okay,
You know what I mean? It ain't like you gotta stretch.
it's not.
Right, it's considered a legal step up, but we don't want them stepping up there if we don't have to.
Yeah,
Okay,
because we really specified we wanted it wheelchair accessible.
Right, once it doesn't.
In the front.
In the front.
I got it.
Yeah.
It is up on the front.
You know, it's actually, he put in ADT ramp.
Okay.
For, fiberglass pad and everything, so it's the slopes are what it should be and everything else, so.
Looks really nice.
Like you said, Nick, he did stain it, and then he's sealed it.
okay.
So it's taken care of real well. Just on another note on that, I'll probably gonna have to put a couple of drains around it now because of the area, it brings a lot of water, especially from behind the wall. when
It's
it rains.
flooded out there in the back.
Right, so we're gonna have to put probably a couple of drains across the driveway to the catch basin. Just a couple of 4-inch drains, it ain't gonna be nothing, like catch basins around, it'll just be yard tees and stuff like that, so.
Well, Dave and I talked about this yesterday, and there's a spot where you could plant some little things there. And I suggested that we just use the brown mulch and mulch it for now, and don't worry about any plants going in there until after it cools off, maybe like plant some mums in there for the fall. And then wait till everything gets settled before we actually put any real permanent plantings in there. And that will cut down the working care that the road department has to do for right now.
Sounds good. All right, we'll move into fiscal office. We have no old business, but we do have some new business, starting with a liquor permit.
We have a liquor permit transfer request from Rico's. The old Rico's is transferring their liquor license, which is a C, which is beer and wine, to Bark and Bite LLC at the same address. My understanding is that somebody was going to rehab that building over there and make it a barbecue, American food kind of thing.
Yes. So they pulled their pulled permits as we speak. Joe Scasio owns the building, purchased the building, and then he's leasing it out to them. But they're going to do all the renovations. So they've got the fire application as well as my application as of yesterday.
So that is confirmed that they're going to rehab that for a barbecue place?
Yes.
Okay.
Wasn't it a barbecue, American food type restaurant?
Correct.
It's not Joe's Barbecue, or?
No.
I thought he was gonna put
And
something.
they're residents as well.
This is at Rico's, though.
Well, he's
This is
been
at the
talking
Rico's
about Sully's.
But he's not going to Rico's.
No.
So this is us requesting a hearing or not.
So we got to make a motion in the positive, so I'll make a motion to request the hearing. I need a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor, Mike?
No.
Sue?
Well, since this is a transfer for an already established business going to another business in the same spot, I don't feel that it would be productive to have a hearing, so I would have to vote no.
And Nick?
No.
Okay, motion failed. So I will fill out the paperwork and send it back to them. Okay, thank you.
No problem. I would like to, so we have the TIF acceptance.
Yeah, we just have to accept the March 10th meeting.
So I'd like to accept from the March 10th meeting, the tax incentive financing for Maple Crest.
That likes the meeting minutes from that meeting, which.
Oh, meeting minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike, you second?
Yes, I did.
Okay, all those in favor, Mike?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank
You don't need any signatures on this then, right?
No, I just need to send a minute with my signature on it.
And then ACA funding. So I will make a motion to accept the ACA funding for discussion.
Second.
Okay, we just got the email this morning, the confirmation back from them on all the paperwork that we had to send in, that our first draw is coming here in the next week, and it's gonna be half of the amount, which is $541,039.22. The total amount is gonna be $1,082,078.44. So we're gonna just have to accept that ACA funding to the township.
Okay. And I think it's important to note too, that there are restrictions on the use of this. So we're working with legal counsel to make sure we're able to use all the funds. Just because we get awarded the funding doesn't mean we can keep all the money. It has specific uses and requirements set forth by the federal government on that. Any questions from the board about that money?
Nope.
Okay, all those in favor? Mike?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
We do have an executive session today, but before that, I'd like to open it up for the good of Brimfield Township. Is there any questions or comments from the public? All right. All right, if not, I need a motion to go into executive session. After executive session, we will come back out for a public meeting, but I need a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code for compensation of a public employee.
Sue made that motion. I need a second.
I will second that.
Okay, we are moving to executive session at 9:56.
All right, we will move upstairs for our executive session. Thank you, Brian. All right, I'd like, we just exited executive session. Based on our executive session, I'd like to make a motion to approve the updated job description for Brimfield Police Department. Thank you. Administrative Assistant, Records Clerk, full-time, non-bargaining unit. In addition to the change in job description, we will set the starting pay at $16.83 per hour, following the step increases as outlined in the attached document.
Second,
Okay, all those in favor, Nick?
Yes?
Sue?
yes.
Mike had to leave for business purposes, so we have 2 out of 3. Motion is passed.
All right. Any other questions or comments for the good of the order? If not, I'll entertain a motion to end the trustee meeting.
Second,
Sue, you want to make it?
Yeah.
Matthew, second? All right.
I'll make
second.
it.
We're moving to adjourn at 10:09. Okay, all those in favor? Sue?
Aye.
Nick?
Yes.
We are done, 10:09.
Thank you so much.